So, I've calmed down quite a bit. Um, Today, this morning, um, staying at the Embassy Suites. I think it's called Embassy Suites Hilton in Montgomery, Alabama. We just checked out. Um, on the way down, we stayed at an Embassy Suites in Charlotte, and yes, there's definitely a difference. The Embassy Suites here in Montgomery, sorry. Um, Let me go to Charlotte first. Charlotte, the people were nice. The rooms were really nice. It was right downtown, so it looked like a kind of fun place to stay if you're staying in Charlotte or sightseeing. It was directly across the street from the NASCAR Hall of Fame. The rooms were really pretty, well decorated. They have a clear shower door and it's kind of sexy, but impractical. If you're traveling with, like, if I'm traveling with my son and you have this one bathroom, I hate for him to have to come in and grab something and, I'm in there naked and it can be seen. So it's not the most practical, but it was in a room with a king size bed. And so I'm like, maybe they're decorators or designers even think that far. Or if it's just one king bed, then it may be an intimate relationship. But anyway, that's here nor there. But the highlight of the Embassy Suites in Charlotte was the breakfast staff in the morning. I wish I had gotten their name, and I wish I had cash with me. I like to carry at least a $5 bill, and that's all I had. And come to find out, I didn't even have a $5 bill. I only had a $1 bill. So, but when I came down for breakfast and I'm getting on the road and I want to get something to eat, and the staff and it's 6:30 are like, "Good morning. How are you this morning?" Great. They were alive. It was a man and a woman. They were very helpful. They were very welcoming. The energy that they brought, this can make such a difference in a person's life. And so I wish I had gotten their names, but they definitely get a shout out because they kind of changed the tenor of my morning and then my day. Just being warm, enthusiastic, accommodating. I am a frequent stayer, if that's a word, at Embassy Suites. That's my go-to. I know what I'm going to get. I know what their standard is. It's 3 stars, and I've been in a lot worse 3 stars. But my main reason is I'm a mother of 4. When my children were smaller, or even now, we could all stay in there, just me and the kids, because there's 2 beds in a double, and there's always a pull-out in a completely separate room so that you have a little space. And they have the breakfast every morning, and the breakfast is standard across every Embassy Suites I've been to, overseas or here in America. And I don't eat meat, and so I love that they have those potatoes, and they have an omelet station, and I can make my potatoes. I just add omelet fixings like onions and green pepper and jalapeno and tomato, sometimes mushrooms, and spinach. And then I have a vegetarian filling breakfast before I get out into the world. So that's good. And but they were great, and they kind of set the tone for me to have a more positive start to my day. And I just think that's like things I wouldn't always think about before. But we have people who are chippy, cheery in the morning, and then we have people who are not morning people. Like me. It's me. And so I come down like Don't talk to me, don't say anything to me. And even a cheery person can annoy me in the morning, but they really were so warm yet non intrusive that their energy was welcomed. They were warm, but they still didn't do too much. They gave me my space. Because if I had to keep they just gave the sunshine, but they didn't make you have to talk and say, "Well, how's your day? And where are you coming from, ma'am?" I think she did say, "What brings you to Queen City?" I think they call Charlotte. I think she did ask me that, but it was just the right amount. So they were great, and so great that on my way back, I'm like, I'll stop in Charlotte because I already know I like them. Now let's get to Embassy Suites in Montgomery. So Embassy Suites in Montgomery is different. It's a smaller town. It's more bucolic. Both places I parked on the street instead of because again, my focus often, not 100%, but often my focus is on budget traveling and how I'm able to do things and still, not break the bank. And that's one of them. I never pay for parking in a hotel because most places there's parking on the street. And if I'm from Washington, D.C., where they're ridiculous. I mean, I don't think there's a city as bad as D.C. in terms of parking enforcement. So if your meter expires at 11:50, at 11:52, you got a ticket, So, but most cities aren't like that. And so, not saying you should take a chance, but at least like that place. I parked at Charlotte. I'm downtown. There was a space in front of the building. I knew I was leaving at 6:30. I was running a little late. I left at 7 a.m. I didn't have a ticket. And 7, I think, is when the parking meter started. So that's one of my, ways to save. And so there was a nice young lady at the Montgomery hotel, and I remembered her from last year I remember her from last year when I came down, and she was very welcoming. Again, I wish I remember her name, but here's some of the minuses. The downstairs bathroom, I mean, everybody knows in a hotel, again, if you're a traveler, the downstairs bathroom is a place you may use. If you're in a room with other people, you may not want to, do the stinky with people around, so you may use a public toilet in the hallway, and it's in the lobby. They're usually pretty nice. Also, you may have guests coming to visit and what have you, and they need to use the restroom. So, this restroom had the toilet seat covers. Those are not that important normally because I don't sit my butt on the toilet. When you're staying in a hotel, and let's say it's for a few days, when you do poop, some people, I know, I have some people that just will not. But I'm going to move my bowels, and so I have to put down the paper, and none of the stalls had any of that. So that was annoying because I'm like, this is the only time in life where I need this paper. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that would choose a public hallway bathroom over the hotel bathroom. Then I had the sweet young woman who checked us in. She was kind. She was considerate. She gave us it may have been her, but I called down for a late checkout. And they're a little slower, so they'll have one person at the desk. So I assume it was her. I didn't do the call. And she said, okay, how late do you need? I said, as late as you can give us. She said, do you want 1 or 2? I said, 2, please. Now, checkout time was 11. So I'm like, wow, that's really nice of them. But I needed it because of what I'm taking care of here. I need as much time as I can to rest before I make this long drive. So 1 to 2. I think I hear a knock on the door, but these days I and everyone in the room had earbuds in their ear. So I kept saying, someone knocking on the door. But I'm like, now I'm in that last hour moment, packing up my bag, making sure I have everything, making sure I put things in their proper place, taking my shower, putting on lotion. I think I heard a knock like 3 times. But I wasn't sure. It was like, did I hear a knock? Okay, anyway. Did I hear a knock? Okay, anyway. And finally, oh, that's a knock. So I go to the thing. Now, probably I can be a little much. I was in my bra and panties. I figure I'm just going to peek my head around because I'm trying to get out. And I'm assuming it's someone saying, ma'am, it's time for checkout. Part of me wants to ignore them because I know that I was given a late checkout. However, I just opened the door. Yes. We want to know when you're checking out or something. I said, sir, I have a 2 o'clock checkout. He's like, oh. I said, yeah, I called yesterday. I have a 2 o'clock checkout. I asked for a late checkout. Okay, like I said it in 5 words. I have a late checkout at 2 o'clock. Okay? And I mean, he knew that I was not dressed because even though I called myself clicking my head around the door, I really didn't. I just kind of had it open and I'm like, and I'm naked, so I'm going to close the door. And he's like, oh, okay, because he just kind of stood there with his checkboard. Come on. So I come back in, I just shut the door. I'm like, deal with it. Now is your turn to go and call and figure out or do the other rooms or whatever. It's after 1 o'clock. I said it's 2. I'm leaving. What do you want? I'm not dressed. I'm trying to get out. So I specifically I was doing my yoga. It's important that I do my yoga and my stretches before I get on this long drive because I'm having some issues with my back right now due to an accident. So I'm doing the yoga. I don't want to be agitated while sending out to yoga. The phone rings. I'm like, hello, ma'am, we're just calling about your checkout. I'm trying to remember what they said. They specifically, this is the general manager, and I'm calling to see, we have you scheduled for a checkout. That's what he said. I said, yes, I know, a late one, 2 o'clock. Same thing, I gave him the information, and he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yes, someone just came. Again, expediency. I know I'm down south, but at this point, just say, sure, ma'am, bye. Thank you. But no, he's like, well, that must have been my guide. I was like, yes, sir. He came to the door. I'm trying to get out, but the door is knocking, and the phone is ringing, and he still wasn't like, okay, fine, goodbye. He was like, oh, he must have gotten it misconfigured. Yes, he did. So those are my takes. I hate to go on and on. I try to keep it short, but I'm not that much on editing right now. At some point, I will do more in terms of editing the videos and making them pretty. But right now, I'm just trying to pass along some travel info.